I just want to let you guys know that sometimes it is important to take care of your mental health, and honestly, it's been getting better. It has, but out of frustration and fear, I just been in my head for some reason. I never had this feeling before, but I want it to be known that I truly want to create.
All right, it feels safe to say we've crossed a line where things can't go back to normal. Kai is standing at a real tipping point right now, balancing on a razor's edge, because the same people meant to have his back have slowly turned into the biggest risks to his career. These aren't random outsiders either. They're the exact people Kai helped rise with him hand in hand to the top. I keep circling back to this idea that life looks uniquely beautiful when you're winning, but it turns uniquely dark when the very people you empowered become the ones pulling you under. The image of Kai as someone who's completely untouchable doesn't line up with what's actually unfolding behind the scenes. While Kai is clearly trying to move like a polished professional and shield his multi-million-dollar brand, his inner circle is still moving recklessly. They're acting like they're deep in the trenches with nothing at stake and nothing to lose. In just one single week, Kai's closest associates were tied to entirely separate controversies. Not loud explosions, but the quiet kind, the kind that seeps into a brand and never fully fades. And when you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, it stops feeling random and starts looking like a pattern nobody wants to claim. So let's start with Dez, because Dez is honestly the simplest case to break down. And that's not even meant as disrespect. Dez has always moved like a walking PR problem, constantly proving why he isn't built for the level of exposure he's been handed.
Relax!
Wait, hold on, wait.
We've watched it happen in real time, mistake by mistake, with no surprises left on the table. During one of Kai's biggest moments ever, things went completely off the rails. Mafia H3 Daz got into a heated argument on stream and casually let a homophobic slur fly in front of the entire internet. It was so bad that Kai had no choice but to physically kick him out of the room just to save the broadcast and keep things from fully imploding. And somehow, that still wasn't the end of it. At the Streamer Awards, things allegedly spiraled even further. Daz was reportedly overheard in the bathroom saying some of the most heinous, violent things imaginable about one of the hosts. Fan. That's how wild the moment was described, and it immediately sent shockwaves through the room. Now, whether you believe it was Dez in that bathroom or not, the real issue is how he handled the fallout. When Dez went live afterward, he didn't flat out deny being involved. Instead, he admitted he made a crude comment that night while pushing back hard on the most serious accusations. He denied any threats of violence and claimed the person reporting it was lying about what was actually said. And this is where things get truly tone deaf. Instead of treating a situation involving alleged threats of violence with even a shred of care, he turned it into a technical argument. It became a debate over semantics, breaking down the mechanics of how someone would stick with no teeth, completely missing the seriousness of the moment and making everything look even worse. He brushed it off like it was all a joke, acting like people were ridiculous for even feeling uncomfortable. That's the recurring pattern with Dez. Even when he tries to explain himself, he somehow manages to dig the hole even deeper. At this point, silence would honestly be his smartest move, but he's too emotionally immature to see that. When people say Dez is a brand risk, they are not exaggerating at all. He is the textbook definition of a liability. And when you zoom out, it becomes impossible not to notice the bigger issue. Kai keeps landing in situations where he's forced to publicly clean up messes made by his friends instead of locking in on his own career. It's like Kai is trapped in a non-stop circus. He hands out the opportunity, and Dez hands back controversy every single time. Now, we also have to talk about Ray, because Ray's situation hits differently. With Dez, the chaos is loud, but with Ray, it's quiet and subtle, which honestly makes it worse. Ray moves with this constant sense of entitlement, like the rules don't fully apply to him anymore. A huge reason people side-eye Ray is because, just like Dez, Kai played a major role in putting him on. That alone isn't the issue. The problem starts when the person you elevate keeps showing terrible judgment, especially in moments where all they had to do was not do too much. We saw this clearly during the Nina Lin situation, when a lot of people were visibly uncomfortable with what was being exposed at the time. Ray decided that was the moment to hop on stream and start preaching about forgiveness and second chances. And it's like, bro, read the room. Defending someone right in the middle of a serious controversy isn't the moral high ground people think it is. It just makes you look disconnected at best and reckless at worst. What made it even stranger was the fact that Ray was still allegedly hanging around Chris, the disgraced cameraman, even after Kai himself admitted that seeing those messages really messed him up. So now it's not just bad takes. It's questionable association stacked on top of questionable judgment, and that's where the alarms really start ringing. Then there was the pet store incident. On paper, it sounds small, but optics-wise, it was terrible. He was told he couldn't record, and instead of doing what any normal person would do and quietly leaving, he turned the whole thing into content. That choice alone spoke volumes. Ray hasn't done anything as explosive as Dez, but it all points to the same underlying issue: poor judgment, zero self-awareness, and a growing comfort with disrespect as long as the camera is rolling while being attached to someone else's brand. That kind of behavior doesn't just reflect on you, it reflects directly on the person who put you there in the first place. Now let's talk about Ty Lil, because Ty Lil is a completely different kind of problem. Unlike Dez and Ray, the tone has to shift here because the stakes are higher. What first put Ty Lil on people's radar was that clip on stream where he gets up and humps a woman without any clear sign of consent, and that moment alone made a lot of viewers uncomfortable. More recently, there was the Streamer Awards after-party situation. Jordan Pauline came forward alleging she was sexually assaulted by someone the internet loves, and once that claim entered the conversation, everything around Ty Lil took on a much heavier weight. She went on to describe her phone being taken and broken, and claimed the incident was recorded. She didn't immediately name Ty, but she shared call logs showing repeated calls from him and later said legal action was underway. Ty responded by saying he has never sexually assaulted anyone, and that part of the statement matters, but his response was also extremely narrow. He addressed the most serious accusation head-on while leaving a lot of surrounding questions unanswered. And because of that, even giving him every benefit of the doubt, the situation never really reached a resolution. It stayed murky. The allegation remained on the table, the conversation stalled out, and instead of clarity, the response created even more uncertainty. Even fans are starting to notice how dangerous this all is for Kai's brand. People are openly saying Kai is risking his entire career by surrounding himself with too many of his friends without boundaries. At a certain point, it doesn't matter how clean Kai tries to keep his own image. He's built something bigger than streaming now. And that kind of brand doesn't exist in isolation. Every person he stands next to publicly becomes part of the package. And when those people keep dragging chaos, controversy, or unresolved situations into the spotlight, the damage doesn't stop with them. It travels upward. Kai ends up spending more time managing fallout than building forward momentum. And if nothing changes, the constant pressure of answering for other people's mistakes might finally slow him down. This is the part where it starts feeling uncomfortable to even say this out loud. Because this isn't about another grown man making bad choices on camera. This is about someone who's still a kid being dropped into an environment that never slows you down, under a spotlight that doesn't forgive mistakes once they're made.
Oh God, we should get this to somebody. Have a beautiful day.
You too?
I gotta show you.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. God bless you.
Did you already pay for them?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, thank you.
All right, have a good day. God bless you.
All right, bye-bye.
Kai was just suspended from Twitch for allegedly scamming someone out of $6,500. Whether that accusation ends up holding weight or not, the damage is already dangerous territory for Kai. Once allegations like that enter the conversation, association suddenly matters a lot more, especially with the seriousness of the alleged misconduct hanging in the air. Then there's the Walmart incident, which somehow made things even worse. He walked into a store, allegedly stole something, then tried to pin it on someone else like he was speedrunning a challenge titled, "How Fast Can I Ruin My Own Life?" And somehow that still felt like just the warm-up. The way he moves feels chaotic, reckless, and completely unchecked, running around causing problems, then acting shocked when consequences finally show up. This wasn't some shocking downfall out of nowhere. It felt like the season finale everyone saw coming. He allegedly stole a bunch of flowers, blamed 2 random women, then sprinted off laughing like a kid who just learned what sneaking around means. Zero accountability, negative self-awareness, and a maturity level that just isn't there yet. At this point, you can't help but wonder what's next, because the pattern keeps repeating, and the spotlight only makes it louder. He's not moving like a creator with millions of eyes locked on him. He's moving like a kid who wandered into a vlog and never found his way back to responsibility, just drifting through chaos without a pause button. And of course, there are always people rushing to justify it. He's young, but he's not a toddler who wandered out of daycare. Maybe he doesn't understand taxes or rent yet, but basic right and wrong isn't advanced math. Kindness is good. Stealing is bad. That's stuff kids learn before they can even tie their shoes. These aren't innocent slip-ups, though. They're choices. Choices he keeps making because they bring clout and attention. At some point, you stop calling it a mistake and start calling it what it is: intentional bad judgment dressed up as content. Most creators go out of their way to avoid breaking the law on camera, but Rakai treated it like a brand identity. And he clearly wasn't stopping there. Messing up in general might be normal, but messing up in front of hundreds of thousands of people, inside an environment where bad behavior turns into clips, is a whole different level of reckless. Engagement and attention keep getting rewarded instead of correction, and that's why Rakai's situation stands apart. He's young, and more importantly, he's not just someone Kai happens to know. Kai actively helped bring him into the mainstream, and that part matters.
Hello everybody, I'm currently on my laptop right now, and I appreciate everybody who's been sending me birthday wishes, as today is my birthday. So I felt like it was the perfect day to be transparent and honest with you guys. A few days ago, I spread awareness on mental health and how important it is to take care of yourself. And honestly, for the past few months, I've been struggling with mental health out of self-doubt and fright.
Putting someone on isn't a bad thing. People respect Kai for that. But responsibility starts the moment the cosign happens. And that's where things really crossed a line. There was a moment on stream where Rakai said something inappropriate, and it went so far that his own mom had to step in. She messaged Kai directly and told him to send Rakai home. That moment says everything, not just about Rakai, but about the environment around him. The correction didn't come from the room or the circle, it came from home. And that's the bigger issue. Because Rakai doesn't operate in a vacuum, and neither does the brand attached to him. He's surrounded by older people who already struggle with restraint, judgment, and knowing when to chill. And when you drop an immature teenager into a space where crashing out is normal behavior, the ending is pretty predictable every single time. And that's where everything circles back to Kai himself. Just last week, Kai opened up publicly about his mental health, and honestly, it didn't feel random at all. In my opinion, Kai looks exhausted. He looks like someone who's been carrying way more weight than people realize and finally reached a point where he had to say something out loud. To be fair, his fans showed up and showed real support, and that matters. A lot of people who look up to Kai were reminded that talking about mental health isn't weakness, and that kind of response can genuinely help. But others pointed out something just as important. No one can pretend to be happy forever without it catching up to them. That part hits hard, because it's crucial to be around people and things you actually enjoy, not just what looks good on camera. When you lay everything out like this, it starts to make sense why Kai looks worn down. He's managing a massive brand, fan expectations, sponsor pressure, platform scrutiny, and on top of all that, he's managing people, friends, protégés, associates, each with their own issues, controversies, and mistakes. So every time something goes wrong, even when Kai isn't directly involved, the cleanup still falls on him, and that weight adds up faster than anyone wants to admit. This kind of pressure doesn't hit all at once. It stacks up over time, especially now when the controversies aren't slowing down and loyalty keeps forcing Kai into impossible choices between protecting relationships and protecting his future. Loyalty sounds noble in theory and easy to applaud from the outside, but it becomes a heavy burden when it keeps costing you peace. And peace isn't optional. It affects your focus and seeps straight into your mental health. None of this is about saying Kai is guilty of the things his friends are accused of, but it is fair to say the environment around him has become volatile. Kai has somehow maintained a relatively clean public image through all of this, which is impressive on its own, but the cracks are starting to show. The stress is visible. The exhaustion is visible. That's why the moment Kai chose to speak openly about his mental health should be taken seriously. Behind the numbers, the records, and the success, Kai Cenat is still just a person, a young person, who rose incredibly fast, brought a lot of people with him, and is now realizing that not everyone is built to handle that kind of altitude. Success doesn't just amplify talent, it amplifies everything. The good, the bad, the unresolved. And when the people around you aren't ready for that amplification, they can end up pulling you down with them, whether they mean to or not. So the real question moving forward isn't whether Kai can survive another controversy. He probably can. The real question is whether he can keep carrying all of this without it costing him more than it already has. No amount of loyalty is worth sacrificing your mental health for. And at some point, protecting the brand also means protecting the person behind it. If this breakdown made you think, hit that like button so this conversation reaches more people. Subscribe if you want more deep dives like this, drop a comment, and tell me what you think Kai should do next. And share this with someone who needs to hear it, because these conversations matter more than ever.